Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nedarim, page 58, which discusses a topic which we mentioned, at least on the flip side. When it comes to something in which there is no possible time that it could ever change, which is what's called the davar she'ein lo matirin, then in that situation, the rabbis step in and say that if this forbidden item gets mixed up with that which is permissible, we do allow you at a certain amount, a certain measurement, to be able to partake and to be able to eat. And the reason for this is in contrast, as we've said. For example, when it comes to untithed food, which is called tevel, that is something which there is a potential way that it could become permissible, because once one does separate the tithes, then all of a sudden then it becomes permissible. And therefore, that's why, as we've said before, we do not have any leniencies, because why do we have to go lenient when you can just do something and make it in a better situation? However, if there's no way out, you're absolutely stuck. For example, when it comes to certain food which is specifically designated to a Kohen, and I'm not a Kohen, and that food gets mixed up with other permissible food, so it contaminates, if you will, all of the food. And therefore the question is, are you allowed to eat any of it, or does it all have to be discarded? So the sages understand that it's important, obviously, not to eat something which is forbidden, but also not to be wasteful, but under certain circumstances to be able to nullify it. And therefore, when it comes to these types of things in which there is no end game, tomorrow it will be just as forbidden as today, and there's nothing you could do about it, here the sages are more lenient. Which is, once again, another way that we see how sensitive these sages are when it comes to monetary loss. That they could easily say, well, there's something forbidden in this mixture, just throw it all out. But they don't. They understand that when something becomes nullified, if it is a significant enough ratio, then we're not going to say that the whole thing is forbidden and all of a sudden it just becomes one big waste. Instead, they're lenient and they say it's okay, you can eat it. Now, in certain circumstances, in certain communities, people are very, very strict when it comes to what is eaten. And perhaps under these types of situations, when asked, they'd be told, if there's any shred of doubt, any possibility should definitely be thrown out. It doesn't matter if it's a 1 to 1,000 ratio. But the reality is that the greatest rabbis, the most saintly individuals who have great fear of God, realize that there's sometimes to go strict, and there's sometimes that one does not need to go strict. And in fact, by going strict, you're actually sometimes doing the wrong thing. By going strict, you're wasteful, you're throwing away something in which does have value. And therefore, the sages, again, with their great level of sensitivity, recognize that even though on the surface, one would maybe lean toward being strict, they understand that by doing so, you're doing maybe more harm than good. And instead, they say when it comes to these types of forbidden mixtures, they're more lenient when it comes to the eating of these items.